speaking of independent media, you guys remember the story I did with the Gray Zone, where they were smeared by The Nation and Intercept because they had the balls to question the obviously fake narrative around October 7th. That the only reason people believe is because they have this racist assumption that Arab men, Palestinian men, can't control their sexual urges. It's the sexual anxiety of the European that they exploited throughout the wars against the indigenous people during the Jim Crow era, as they painted black people as savages who wanted to rape white women. They did the same thing to Native Americans. They painted Native Americans as beasts, savages who can't control their sexual urges. They do this to everybody. You guys remember in the Ukraine war where they said Russia was committing mass rape? And then you had the Viagra super soldiers in Syria led by Assad. So isn't it funny how every single enemy of the United States engage in rape, except us, apparently? So when you see this stuff over and over again, you start to question it. So when I saw the narrative about October 7th, it was obviously bullshit. And people who consider themselves on the left were too scared to call it out. The crystal balls are too scared to call it out. The Intercept, the Ryan Grahams, the Nations, not only did they refuse to call it out, they smeared the people who did. So now here is Israeli media who've been covering stuff that no one in Western media will, including the fact that Israel killed Israelis on October 7th. Israel been covering that, not Western media. So I'm gonna play this clip and I want to give you a reaction because I know you've been following this story as well, because this is Israeli media covering how the October 7th propaganda was a lie. And this is shocking. This is shocking to see. This is on Israeli TV. And then he calls out Western media for not questioning it. This is a glorious video.
ערב טוב לכם, אנחנו כבר נדווח על המתווה החדש של עסקת החטופים, האם הוא יפצח את המבוי הסתום, אבל עוד לפני כן, תראו את הדברים הבאים שאומר סמח"ט חטיבת כפיר בערוץ 14, שימו לב.
אנחנו מגיעים לקיבוץ בארי, ושם תופסות אותי עוד שתי תמונות מרכזיות בלחימה, או פה האכזריות של האויב. אחד זה מעון ילדים, שבאמת, באמת, חוץ מתום, אין שם שום דבר אחר, שנשחטו ופשוט הרגו אותם.
אתה רואה את הילדים?
בית, שמונה תינוקות. שמונה תינוקות מתים. ועוד תמונה שתפסה אותי, היא שראיתי את ג'ניה, זיכרונה לברכה, אישה מבוגרת מקיבוץ בארי, שאני רואה את המספר חרוט לה על היד, ואתה אומר, היא עברה את השואה באושוויץ, ובסוף מתה בקיבוץ בארי, זה לא משהו שהוא... בכלל, אתה מצליח להבין אותו.
ובכן, לא נרצחו.
He said, well, no eight babies were killed. So, this, if you're only watching, you're not hearing what they're saying, he showed a clip of an Israeli propagandist lying about babies being slaughtered, lying about war crimes on October 7th. And what happens all the time was you will get these accounts from Israeli propagandists with no evidence, no forensics. They would just say, oh, I saw 10 women get raped and 8 babies get beheaded. And then Western media will print that uncritically. And then I will read these stories and they will straight out say the source, oh, we got this from an IDF soldier. No verifications. Aaron, anything you want to add? I want to give you in here before I continue. Anything else you want to add regarding this PSYOP and the lies regarding October 7th? Anything you want to chime in before we continue?
I mean, yeah, just atrocity propaganda is something that's been going on for generations, right? It's nothing new. And it's definitely a way in which we hijack people emotionally, right? We say all these horrible things are happening and then people can't, they can never forget that. Even if that ends up being false, they're still going to remember that story and when they heard it.
Absolutely. So let's continue this. I want this whole video that he documents multiple examples of them lying. So I'm gonna allow you to watch it and then we're gonna chime in afterwards. But this is just one example of him doing that. Let's continue.
8 תינוקות במעון בבארי מבהיר דובר בארי, ואין בבארי אישה בשם ג'ניה. תראו עוד דברים שאומר לא מזמן גם אדם שהוא חלק מצה"ל.
היו פה גם ילדים
תינוקות
שנתנו על חבל כביסה ממש בשורה אחת. אמר מאוד קשה, אני כשראיתי את זה, זה גם כן זעזע אותי. אתה לא מבין בדיוק באמת מה אתה רואה מול העיניים, האם זה תמונה או שזה באמת מציאות, היה מאוד מאוד קשה לעכל את זה.
בוסקילה מדבר על אירוע כביכול בכפר עזה, אבל לכפר עזה הבהירו מזמן שהאירוע הזה פשוט לא קרה.
This event simply didn't happen. once again, just narrating a little bit for you guys. Just show another example of someone lying. Didn't happen. You know who didn't do these fact checks? Western media. The Intercept, The Nation. The Intercept, they smeared our friends at the Gray Zone as rape denialist sexist. The names they're calling Aaron Monte and Matt Blumenthal is insane because they debunked this. Now, this is Israeli media debunking it, but I'll let it continue.
אגב, הוא אמר את הדברים, נאמר לו שזה לא קרה, ואז הוא אמר אותם שוב בסיור של עיתונאים זרים שהגיעו למקום, ושימו לב מה אומר דובר המשטרה לתקשורת הזרה לא מזמן, שימו לב.
At pregnant women, cut open. Guys, the things that happen here are so sick. This is not a Netflix show, and it's not a cable news show, none of that. No, this is real life.
גם
This also didn't happen, he says. So when you say this is real life, that's how you know he's lying. Like I can tell his body language, like that guy's obviously making it up on the fly. So he wants us to demonize Hamas because they're cutting babies, cutting pregnant women's stomach open. You want to know who's actually doing that? And there's actual evidence of that? I don't know. They're Palestinian women that having C-sections without anesthesia, for example. So I'm gonna let the video continue, but I mentioned this before. How many times do I ever have to lie about my enemy? I never lie about the United States. I never lie about what Biden has done. I don't have to, Aaron. We don't have to because there's so much evidence of them being evil. We don't have to lie. So the question is, if Hamas is so evil, why do they have to lie about them? Wouldn't their deeds show the fact that they're evil? Right. And my conclusion I made as someone who believes in resistance and fighting against colonial movements, the fact that Hamas is not evil. It's obvious they're not evil because they gotta make shit up about them. If there was evil, you wouldn't have to do that. It's literally that simple.
Yeah.
Let's continue.
זה לא קרה. אז קרו כל כך הרבה דברים נוראים, אכזריים, מהאכזריים ביותר שניתן לבצע כלפי בני אדם ב7 באוקטובר. בשביל מה מיקי רוזנטל נאמרים דברים כאלה שלא קרו?
אני מניח שבשביל להגדיל את גודל האיבה על החמאס, כאילו צריך לצייד, כאילו לא קרה מספיק כמו שאתה.
אבל מה, אנשים ממציאים, אנשים רציניים ממציאים את האירועים האלה?
התשובה היא שאולי הם שמעו כשמועה, ואולי הם זה, אבל, וזה הדבר הכי חשוב שצריך...
I cut here, just for a second time, I cut here. I'm gonna watch the rest of this later. I'm interested to see what they say, but for a second time, you guys see how Israeli media is debunking it the same way Israeli media is debunking lies of the two-state solution. So why would they have to do this if Hamas is evil? Why would Biden come out? And I believe this is one of the most evil things that any president has done in my lifetime. You know, when Biden came out and said he saw the 40 beheaded baby, he said, I saw pictures of them. Mm-hmm. That was Joe Biden lying to get you to support a genocide. There's nothing that Donald Trump or any president has done since George W. Bush lied about WMBs, I guess if I had to guess on top of my head, that is as bad as that, right? I'll show you guys this headline. I pass it to you, Aaron, for anything you want to chime in on quickly. I'll just read a few headlines. UN chief warns that Israel's rejection of the two-state solution threatens global peace. And because of Israel's genocide, they have been made into a complete pariah. Everyone is seeing what they're doing. Everyone sees the lies, and everyone except the West is believing it. And I will show you this. I want to get a reaction. During the UN Security Council meeting yesterday, you had several diplomats that left the meeting as soon as the Israeli ambassador started speaking. Now, tomorrow, I'm going to be paying attention to this very closely because the ICJ, the International Court of Justice, will finally have their ruling on the genocide case. So I'm looking forward to that. So let's play the video. I'm going to get you in here, Aaron. So this is like the feeling of the world on Israel. I really think Israel overplayed their hand, and I think we are seeing the beginning of the end of Zionism. Let's watch this.
You have a historic opportunity to shift the focus of this council to the real and great security threats. The Middle East is suffering from a cancer, and up until
they just leaving. I can turn the audio down, but everyone knows that Israel is a country full of liars. Why would anyone believe anything that come out of Israel to the point where they speak like we don't have to be here? We know they're gonna tell us 2 + 2 = 5.